Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something you see literally every single day: logos. We're unlocking the secrets behind these powerful symbols.
I mean, just think about it for a second. They really are these permanent satellites in our lives. Some are so familiar, they're like the moon. You just know they're going to be there. Others are a little more distant, a bit unknown. But no matter what, they're always there, kind of orbiting our world and connecting us to companies, products, and some really big ideas.
And that's the whole point, right? A truly great logo creates this chain reaction. It's all about triggering that instant flash of recognition. You see it on a business card, it pops up on your phone, you spot it on a friend's bag, and boom, you know exactly what it is. No hesitation. So, what is it that makes a logo truly great? How do designers crack that code, creating one single memorable mark that says so much? Well, that's what we're here to figure out. Let's dive in and take a little journey into the mind of a designer.
All right, first things first. Let's talk about the logo's big job. Before we even get into the how of design, we've got to understand the what. What is a logo even supposed to do? You know, some logos are so iconic, they become almost inseparable from the product itself. They're just imprinted in our minds. But maybe their most important job? It's to last. Just look at the Chase Bank logo, designed way back in 1961, and guess what? It hasn't changed at all. It jumped from the print world to the digital world totally effortlessly. Now that is the power of a timeless design. Okay, so how do you even begin to tackle a challenge that big? What tools does a designer have to work with? Let's get into the designer's toolkit and break down some of the fundamental strategies. Okay, so on one hand, you've got what are called pictorial marks. These are super direct, you know? They're icons that represent something real. Think of the Shell logo or Apple's Apple. Then, on the other hand, you have abstract marks. These are more suggestive. Think about the Nike swoosh. It doesn't actually look like anything specific, but it just feels like speed and motion, right? And then sometimes the name is the logo. That's a word mark. Think Google, Coca-Cola. The whole shebang is right there in the name. Or you can go the monogram route, which is all about creatively combining a couple of initials into one slick design. You know, like Louis Vuitton or Warner Bros. Okay, but here's where things get really cool. This is where the magic happens. Those basic types are just the starting point. The greatest logos, well, they use a kind of secret visual language. We're talking about clever visual tricks and psychological principles that speak directly to your subconscious. And one of the most powerful tools in that secret language is something called negative space. This is all about the space around the main shape. In the best logos, that empty space isn't empty at all. It's actually forming another shape, a hidden image that adds this whole other layer of meaning. You want a perfect example? Okay, look at the FedEx logo. I bet you've seen this logo a million times, but have you ever really looked at it? There's a hidden symbol right there in the letters. Go on, take a second and see if you can spot it. Did you see it? It's the arrow right there between the E and the X. It's a brilliant symbol for forward motion and speed. And that's the absolute genius of negative space. It was hiding in plain sight the whole time. And I promise you, now that you've seen it, you will never be able to unsee it. And it's not just about these clever hidden symbols. Designers are also kind of like illusionists, fixing visual glitches that you don't even know your brain is creating. For example, there's something called the bone effect. Basically, where a curved line meets a straight one, our eyes perceive this weird little dent. So designers have to subtly tweak the curve, making it technically wrong so that it looks perfectly right to our brains. Wild, right? They also speak a language of emotion just through shape. Think about it on a basic, almost primal level. We're all subconsciously a little wary of sharp edges, right? They can mean danger. So sharp, angular shapes in a logo can feel more authoritarian, maybe a little intimidating. But round shapes, they feel safe, inviting, and friendly because there's no threat. And this level of detail, I mean, it gets almost microscopic. There's this other trick called overshoot. This is where letters with curves like an O or a C are actually made a tiny bit taller than flat letters like an M. Why? Because if they were the exact same height, our eyes would trick us into thinking the round ones are smaller. It's this tiny, almost invisible correction that creates perfect visual balance. So you've got all these tools, all these secret psychological tricks. How does a designer put it all together to land on that one single perfect mark? Well, here's the twist.
It's not really about adding more stuff. It's about taking things away.
Yeah, the best way to think about it is like sculpting. A designer starts with this big block of raw ideas, and then they just start chipping away. They get rid of the lesser concepts, they remove all the unnecessary visual clutter, and they just keep refining.
It's this constant process, almost an obsession. You're adding and then stripping some more. You just keep going until what's left is the absolute purest form of the idea. The most correct, the most perfect, the most timeless version is all that remains.
So there you have it. Now that you know some of the secrets, you've basically got a new set of eyes. So as you go about your day, I want you to look around. Really look at the symbols you see every day. What unnoticed details will you discover now? What hidden messages are waiting for you to find?